Hi guys, this is my 32-week pregnancy update. I feel like these pregnancy updates have just gone on forever and ever. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about how I'm doing this week and new symptoms and stuff like that. So, as of week 32, I've been experiencing constant peeing. Like, my bladder just feels like it doesn't work anymore. And I've started feeling like these really weird sensations of pressure in my cervix. So I think her butt is like really pushing down on there. I went into the hospital a week ago for reduced movements and found out that unfortunately baby girl is still breech, meaning that there is not really any chance of her going head down. I know that it does happen for people between week 32 and week 39, but in my case it's not really possible with the size of my pelvis and how little room there is, having never had a previous natural birth, and I don't want to run the risk of an ECV. She was weighing in at £3 4 ounces a week ago, so about £4 now, probably, or just under £4. Yeah, I really haven't had a lot of new symptoms. I'm just feeling a lot heavier, a lot more tired, and just a lot more pressure. Something I am feeling quite anxious about, actually, is the C-section, because I found out some bad news about it, which I really wasn't aware of was a thing in this country. So I did make a C-section story time, or I think I just sort of made a video talking about it. And the biggest trauma with my first C-section was I was given what's called a high spinal. They administered the spinal block in my back, which is like an epidural but for a C-section. They put it too high in my spine and I experienced whole body numbness, vision, hearing loss, so forth. And it was the most traumatizing experience of my life. And luckily, even whilst going through that, my daughter's father at the time was in the room. Now, I found out that actually at the place where I'm having my C-section and most places in America, you are not allowed to be accompanied whilst having the anesthesia administered, which means that my biggest fear and my biggest anxiety going into this repeat C-section, which is the spinal block, I have to go through the experience alone without even the only comfort, which is having the support of my partner there. So, like, the one little thing that was going to keep me somewhat sane going into this repeat surgery was knowing that even if my spinal went wrong, my partner would be there, and he's not allowed to be. So, basically, they don't like to have a dad in the room when they administer the spinal because they administer the spinal right near the surgical tools, and they cannot take any risk of the dad sneezing or coughing or any germs getting onto the surgical tools. And secondly, if the spinal doesn't work and you have to have a general anesthesia, they don't want to have to then kick the dad back out of the room. So they like to make sure you're 100% numb and fixed before the dad comes in the room, which really upsets me because with my first spinal block, they put it in and I laid down and I thought everything was fine. I was like, okay, I'm numb. They put the cold spray on my belly and I'm like, yeah, it worked. I don't feel anything. And then it was about 5 minutes later that I suddenly felt incredibly unwell. It just suddenly came over me and my blood pressure plummeted. So I feel like I'm going to get this spinal block and I'm going to spend 5 minutes kind of laying there like, okay, when am I going to start feeling like I'm dying? Because I know it's not immediate. At least not from my first experience. I'm really hoping this is a better experience. So I'm very upset because I know that if I go through the same trauma again, not only will I be having a repeat trauma, but I'll be doing it alone, and I'm going to be very, very anxious and shaking in a room surrounded by a bunch of random doctors that I don't know and no partner. So, I don't know. I've only just discovered that, and I'm really sad about that, but it is what it is, so I'm just going to have to suck it up and go through it. Anyway, I'll show you the bump. There's really not a whole lot more to update you on. Still pregnant. I am sort of starting to feel like labour might not be too far away. I'm 32 weeks now, and I'm sort of feeling like she might possibly come as soon as 35, 36 weeks. My first came at 36 weeks, and I'm just starting to get the same sort of sensations in my pelvis, like that I might start dilating soon, so I'm really hoping she stays in at least 1 more month. Anyway, let's show you the bump. I can't even really talk anymore because the acid reflux is just burning. This is my baby bump at 32 weeks. Ugh.